I rank where the view is nothing less than phenomenal. For how I express and project from my abdominal. The only view better, both my daddy and my mama know. No living parents, my sons give me balance. My wife is my serenity, this mic is my identity. The world is foul enough, that's why I write without obscenities. Provoking danger with broken language and spoken anguish. Begging to get hurt, why would you ask to go through changes? Yes, Lord, life's a chessboard, master the angles. Control the tempo, be the one who holds the info. Acknowledge is just as deadly as machete swings. When spoken, the truth is as potent as that Medellin. While others swear the style is free, I just let it ring. Our time is undervalued, soldiers make us better kings. My fans on my shoulder, reaching after better things. Today I take the shot, for them I'd rather set the screen.
My mama told me follow my dreams. My daddy told me get it by any means. Stand tall, make him bow to a king. But I've evolved, you can see the resolve. Look in my eyes when you speaking to God.
Life and for those who we caught up in using what I was called with the muse. I guess they call it proving I'm more than an artist. Penciling out my darkest while stenciling out a harvest. And storing what gets me from A to B, just like garages. Instrumental with collages. Envision what I've been drawing. Broadway to give you rhythm like the great Lena Horne. So bent on, found comfort in the storm. Find peace and on when you see them others perform. Organized chaos, I'll cast it like hey ya.
Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? This is your number one Chief Rock Knicks Universe, your main man, Uncle Freezy, and welcome to the premiere Knicks in the Morning Time show, the Knicks Morning Drive. What's good? What's good? What's good? Okay, I thought something, man, it sounded like somebody was breaking in here or something. Sound like somebody was breaking in here, something. Down south, every time you open the door, it's like a fly want to come in. Salute to everybody. Sherwin is in the building. Allah Wise is in the building. Trying to get this camera to focus or refocus or whatever it's doing. Salute to everybody that came through and rocked with us last night on the Knicks at Night podcast. Well, we talked a lot about Big Papa. We talked about Hartenstein and how he's a new Knicks fan favorite. Let me see if I can get this camera right. Let me see if I can get this camera right. This camera don't want to get right for some reason. Bronx Kicks for Life is in the building. The son of the legend, Kerry Cox, is in the building. So today this morning, I want to talk to y'all about, so we're going to be busy, right? So I think I'm confident we're doing this show for a couple of hours, and then we'll be doing the Big Boss Man Roundtable for about 28 minutes. And then we'll be doing Knicks Freestyle for about 90 minutes. And then the Knicks at Night podcast. So I think that's how things are going to go. I'm confident that's how things are going to go. I'm confident that's how things are going to go. Let me see. Let me make a camera adjustment here. Again, I hadn't touched anything, right? And the camera just does what it wants to do. I hadn't touched anything. Let me see if I can put it on 480p. Let me see if 480p. Ooh, 480p. Oh, is that for me? Did you put some sweetness in it?
Zero sugar.
Okay. I already have some of these. Ms. Mocha bought some coffee in for us, everybody. You checking on your buddies? Okay. Yeah. I Am Big Buddy is in the building. Salute. Cowboy Bob in the building. Salute. I'm gonna put the link out there, Cowboy Bob. Just give me a second to get this thing Let me get this thing going. Today's show, I'm going to talk about the NBA landscape and how it affects the Knicks, and how the Knicks moves will affect the NBA landscape and how others make moves. That's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the butterfly effect, how something somewhere affects us. About how something somewhere else affects us. Things happen. King Ribby is in the building, probably fresh out of the shower. Mo, King Ribby take like 9 showers a day. Yeah, I'm not snitching, King Ribby. I'm just, hey, I ain't starting no trouble. I'm just having some fun. It's a live stream, bro. It's a live stream, man. We just having fun. We just kicking it. My 2-year-old pit bull is outside rolling in the grass. As soon as he come inside, he know he getting a shower. Soon as he come inside, he getting washed completely off. I don't even know why he do that. He go outside, roll around, and all that stuff. Soon as he hit the little atrium area right here, the little thing, you know, when you come inside, soon as you pause, you know how as soon as you come in the thing, the little area you got, soon as he hit that, he getting washed completely off. Salute to the greatest borough God ever created, Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn, stand up. Salute to Canarsie and Flatbush. Salute to Brownsville. Brownsville is in the building. Where my people from Brownsville at? Crown Heights. Crown Heights, what's good with you? Salute to all my people in Crown Heights. Salute to all my classmates from Tilden. Salute to all my classmates from Tilden. Salute to all my classmates from Brooklyn Tech. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Salute, man. Salute to Brooklyn. Salute to those other boroughs, the Bronx, New York, Staten Island, Queens, Manhattan. Salute wherever you are. Let's get into it for real. So this is a serious conversation. I really don't want to get into it, but we have to have this conversation early in the offseason. Because I know and understand that everybody that we all get Knicks content from various places. And what I'd like to do is establish groundwork, framework, so that the conversations this summer won't be dumbass random conversations. I wanted to say it eloquently, but I couldn't find another way to say it. Queens is in the building. Salute. Rome is in the building. Salute, my guy. Just Knicks is in the building. I want to establish something early with me early in the offseason so that when you go about your ways during the summer and you hear all these random odd conversations, you'll either know, hey, I heard that from Uncle Freezy already, or no, Uncle Freezy ain't going to be a part of that. I want to establish that. I want to establish that early, right? The thing I want to establish early is a few things. Thing number one, every team in the NBA that had success this postseason is not a championship contender. Right? Y'all hear me? In most NBA seasons, there are legit 3 championship contenders. And then there may be 1 or 2 that may switch places occasionally. Right? Every team this offseason, or every team that had success this offseason, is not, and I repeat, not a championship contender. You won in the first round, you have a great player, so on and so forth. That does not make you a championship contender. Maybe your best player is first team all NBA. You look really good in the playoffs. That does not make you a championship contender. Because if it did, that means 10 teams in the NBA are championship contenders right now. Everybody that had a player on the all NBA team, everybody that made the second round, everybody that missed the second round because their guy was injured, that does not make you a championship contender. Personally, I don't want to hear it. And I know all off season we're going to hear stuff like, oh, yeah, man, they're one piece away from competing for. Shut up. Sherwin, can I be brutally honest? Sherwin, can I be honest? Can I be brutally honest? Kerry Cox, can I be brutally honest with this analysis? Because I know you guys are going to hear it all summer. People are going to feed into what they think you want to hear, and they're going to tell you some stuff that they think you want to hear, and then you're going to hear it, and it's going to be exactly what you wanted to hear, and it's going to sound like information, and it's actually more fluff than anything. You are going to hear stuff that doesn't make sense, like run it back with no changes. That's what you're going to hear. What we're going to hear this offseason is a lack of not a lack of content, but a lack of foresight. Foresight, seeing forward, right? And forethought, thinking forward. You're going to see a lack of that. I don't know I don't know. Maybe we should you're going to hear a lot of that, right? And what I'm going to say to you guys is you're smart enough to take in whatever you want to take in. Like whatever you think is right. What I'm saying is don't have me in that. Like when you listen to Uncle Freezy, trust that Uncle Freezy is looking at stuff for what it is, having foresight, having forethought. I'm looking at the entire landscape. I'm looking at what things are going to be like in January, February, March. I'm looking at what things are going to be like at this summer's draft. The draft is about a month away. The draft is in about a month. And I know with all the shit, I watch a lot of shows, by the way. I put a lot of shows on. Man, I probably have YouTube on all the time. And what I find, and this is no shot at a particular person, but what I find is just because your microphone is on, don't really mean you saying anything. What are you saying? And I guess what I'm getting at, as I prepared for this, is this summer may be a summer of movement. Justo is in the building. Salute. What I find is the more people have access to this, the more people do it. And no knock on them for having fun or making a living or whatever they do. Right? No knock on them for having fun or whatever reason why they do it. No knock on them. But I take the approach, the responsibility of analyzing stuff and providing intel. Eddie, what's good, bro? What I like to do is break down the stuff that I see and make it palatable for you, and you respond to me with your thoughts, and we build a robust conversation around that. Because I won't see everything, and neither will you. But we take what we see, bring it together, we chop it, we talk about it. And so I want to get ahead of that this offseason, because last offseason, there was some stuff, and we were like, people were like, and I didn't enjoy it at all. I didn't enjoy last offseason. I didn't enjoy the content from last offseason, and I think a lot of people didn't. Right? There was like, I don't know for other people's joints, but I would look at the stuff and people just wasn't enjoying it because there was such a negative vibe. No matter what you say, hey, I think the Knicks may get you new uniforms. I don't know about new uniforms. Hey, I think the Knicks may change the garden floor. I don't know about changing the floor. Right. and there was a lot of that. I think the Knicks might sign Bruce Brown. I don't know about Bruce Brown. And you're like, hey, well, I mean, well, why you here? Why you here? Sherwin, I'm gonna get to this right here. I'm with you. Trust me. I'm building towards a. I got you. Trust me. I got you, big dog. I got you. I got you. I got you. This is a part of the conversation I'm gonna get to. I'm gonna get to that, but I gotta build to it. I want to get ahead of this thing, right? I'm gonna be proactive, have some foresight, some forethought. I want to get all of y'all involved. I'm gonna keep track of what you guys say, not receipts. I don't do the receipts thing. That's not my thing. I don't wanna hold people accountable for what they say. That's not my job. I don't like doing that. And honestly, I think it's petty when other people do it. I got receipts, Uncle Freezy. Well, good. Keep them. Are there players out there the Knicks could go after to boost this rotation? Yes, but I'm gonna build towards that. I'm gonna build towards that, right? So I want to get out front of this thing. Last summer, I mentioned to y'all that the Knicks were gonna win 60 games and that the Knicks were gonna meet the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. I said it all last summer. Anybody here from last summer? Y'all remember me saying the Knicks were going to win 60 games and the Knicks were going to face the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals? And I said on a couple of occasions last summer, I said that if the Knicks face the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, there is a shot that we can beat the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. Anybody remember Uncle Freezy having foresight or forethought? Anybody remember that? I'm not tooting my own horn, everybody. I'm not tooting my own horn. I don't want to give the impression like I feel like I'm smarter than everybody. What I want to do though, however, is let you know that when the sincerity that I come across with you, that I try to project with you is real. Like when I tell you, when last summer when I told you I believed in this team, and depending on the matchups and the health, the Knicks could do something. I meant that. You're right behind my mama. Okay. They only drink Perrier. My dogs won't drink water. I guess they only drink water out of the bottle. So I guess what it is I guess that my whole thing for saying this, talking to you about the NBA landscape and how it affects the Knicks, and getting out ahead of this thing early, so that you guys can make your own determinations. You guys can take the facts. You guys can take the facts and everything for what they are, and make your own determination on stuff. So people won't lead you around like, yeah, you know. I don't want people to lead you around. I want y'all to enjoy yourselves and think about what it is that people are saying to you. That's what I want. I think your entertainment is more important than what you could give to others. And I understand we're in a give and take relationship. I guess I give y'all something, but I know for a fact y'all give me something. Like when every time I click the go live button, right, just seeing y'all in the chat, man, kind of get me perked up. I be excited about that. And I know that's corny, but I come from a corny place. I'm a cornball and I know it. Right? I'm a cornball and I know it. So when people call me a cornball, I'm like, hey man, thank you. I believe in stuff like good company. Anybody know what good company is? I like stuff like that. I like good company. I like good conversations. Right? I like to hear other people talk. I enjoy stuff like that. I like to debate with people about something that they're passionate about. I like that. I enjoy stuff like that. I enjoy stuff like that, man. I like stuff like that. Ola's in the building. All right. The reason why I pronounce it like that, I was in the military a long time ago. I was at a place called Fort Polk, Louisiana, and that was a dude's. I don't know if that's your first name or last name, but that was his first name, right? And I was like, "How you pronounce that?" And he kept saying it, and we was like, and my man was like, "Yo, just call me." Everybody called me, and that's what we, you know. And so he said, "I'm part of team run it back, but I enjoy your take." No. Listen, no. Listen, it's not the run it back part. It's not the run it back part, right? It's the fact that people will say run it back because they have no analysis. So they say run it back, and they just double down on run it back because they don't have a breakdown of running it back. So if you say run it back and I say run it back, I can break down why running it back is important. But when you turn the microphone on and say run it back, and then there's nothing else to it, then you just said run it back because you don't have anything to say, but you turned that microphone on anyway. Dripmore is in the building. Right. I'll give an example. I'll give you an example. If somebody says run it back because all the team has to do is stay healthy and we can win a championship, that's not really analysis, is it? Because if the team would have stayed healthy this year, we may have won a championship, right? Do you really need to sit in front of somebody for an hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 45 minutes, and say, if we'd have stayed healthy, we may have won a championship? That's what I mean. That's what I mean. That's what I mean, man. Last year, I did not enjoy. I'm not gonna lie to you, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus that shouldn't be thrown under the bus. What I'm saying is last summer I did not enjoy Knicks universe at all. It seemed to me that everybody was ready to just throw Randall under the bus or trade him. Right? Mad at the front office, mad at Miami, mad at Quickly, mad at RJ, mad at Grimes, mad at Mitch, mad at. But nobody offered vision. Nobody. Nobody really offered vision. Kerry Cox says Levine, Donovan, PG-13, or DeRozan. That was last year's narrative, right? Wasn't that last year's conversation? I don't like Zach Levine. Donovan Mitchell is too small. PG-13 is old and fragile. Where's DeMar DeRozan going to play at? Right? But nobody offered, and I'm saying, and when I say nobody, I'm saying everyone. And I'm not complaining. I'm just pointing out a thing that I didn't enjoy. If you enjoyed it, listen, if you enjoyed it, okay. But what I'm saying is the complaining about stuff all the time in this universe, to me, was like beyond disappointing. Is that what you got? Is that all you have? When somebody comes up with a fresh take on something, a fresh thought, I don't know. My man was yelling at people, bro. Yo, my man was yelling at people. Like, yeah, I think the Knicks should explore the dark navy uniforms. I don't know. Damn, dog, calm down, bro. Why you mad? Tell us why you mad, son. So what I'm gonna say to you is with that being my preface for the offseason, that right there that I just mentioned is my preface for the offseason. We're gonna approach this thing with some foresight, some forethought, the conversations, and trust me, when people come up here and they try to get into that I don't know type thing, I'm cutting their ass off and I might boot them off the thing. Y'all remember when I told you couldn't come up here and you couldn't be whack? Remember that? And I relaxed all that stuff. And half the people that used to rock with us don't even rock with us no more because I relaxed the rules so that people could come up and then they be whack and people hit me up now like, bro, I came through the other day just to see, and it was the same thing. And I was like, yeah, man, it's, trying to give people a chance. It's a fan show. And they're like, I don't care nothing about the fan show, bro. We want to hear some real stuff. I understand. Sharon, remember when I used to tell people that? Like, yo, you come up here, you better not be whack. Remember that? I used to tell people that like 2 years ago. I do the ultimate sacrifice. The sacrifice I make is giving people opportunity. Yeah, I give people opportunity all the time. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it works for them. Sometimes it don't work. But the one thing about this is you can't say on this channel that you don't get the opportunity to come up and and at least, get an opportunity to see if whatever. So I'm going to say a few things, and it's probably going to be disconcerting to a few of you, right? But just hear me out on it and understand where I'm going with it. I'm going to say a few things to y'all, and just hear me out, right? Right? I'm not going to do a sound bite. I'm not going to do a Knicks for clicks thing. I'm going to get into a bag, right? And I just want you to get in this bag with me, right? And then understand where I'm going with it. And then understand I'm talking about the future of New York Knicks basketball. As much as I love the Knicks, and as much as I think the Knicks are a championship contender, I only see the Knicks winning about 50 to 52 games next year. That's a lot of games, by the way. My early season feeling is that this team is going to be a 51-31, 52-30 type team next season. And it's not because of what you think. It's not a talent issue. It's not a coaching issue. Right? It's none of those things. I'm going to share with you why I think the Knicks are going to barely get to 50 wins. And it's as simple as this. I think the Knicks are going to get off to a very, 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 very slow start. Regardless of the moves that they make this offseason, I think the Knicks are going to get off to a tortoise-like start. No, I hadn't seen the schedule yet. No, I have no idea who they're going to add this summer. I don't. Whether it's trade, free agency, or draft, I don't know. But there's one thing I do know. And one thing that you know already, and you've seen it over the years, and it absolutely applies to everyone. Everyone that has encountered this has experienced this. Sherwin says, I have a question for you. Do you see Tibbs getting off to a slow start? I don't. Right, Sherwin. Yeah, right. I'm going to explain it to you right now. Right now, see, because what you're saying is wrong based on not having the information that I'm going to provide you with. I'm going to provide you with information, and then you are absolutely going to change your mind. And the reason why I say that is because I think you're smart enough to process information, take in information, and then, come up with a reasonable synopsis after the fact, after the facts are laid out. Teams that have multiple season-ending injuries get off to slow starts the following year. Teams that have multiple season-ending injuries get off to a slow start the following season, right? And it's not because dudes forget how to play basketball or dudes lose their passion for basketball. That's not it. When rehab runs into the summer for an injury, it takes an NBA player out of their normal offseason routine. I'll give an example. Julius Randle. Julius Randle last season had double ankle surgery, right? And some other things he had dealt with during the summer where he couldn't get off to his normal fast start. And at the beginning of this season that just passed, Julius Randle got off to a horrendous start where Julius Randle was in October and November. Julius Randle was shooting 8% at the rim. 8. That's below high school player efficiency at the rim. And then when you take into account he's 6'8" and 250, that was horrendous. And listen, before y'all say, I don't know if that's true. I don't know. Of course you don't know because you don't listen. When Randall was going through it, we put his numbers on the screen on the Knicks at Night podcast. We use the website Basketball Reference. We use Basketball Reference and put Julius Randle's field goal percentage from 0 to 3 feet, and it was 8%. Eight. For a man that's 6'8", 250 pounds. That's middle school. That's not even middle school efficiency. But it wasn't his fault. The reason why he was so inefficient is because he had a off-season surgery that went into that pushed back his normal routine. He came back at about 70% and rusty. And he didn't get going until about right before Thanksgiving. That's Randall. That's Julius Randle. That's one player. Now, fast forward this summer, Julius Randle has been off of a basketball court since January 27th. Julius Randle hadn't played since January 27th. He had a shoulder injury that put him out for the season, basically. He didn't have the surgery January 27th. He tried to rehab. We all know Randle has not played since January 27th. And to assume that Julius Randle, after off-season shoulder surgery, no off-season to work out, is going to be ready on opening night in peak prime condition, ready to go, is a fallacy. You fooling yourself. You're not fooling me. You fooling yourself. when you couple that with OG Anunoby's injury, along with Josh Hart abductor tear, abdomen tear, Bogdanovich's ankles and wrist surgery, Mitchell Robinson's injury, Jalen Brunson's injury. And to assume that all of those guys on opening night are going to be 100% and ready to go is fooling you. You're fooling yourself. And I know what some of y'all are going to say. Hey, Uncle Freezy, it's only 6 to 8 weeks. Nah, bro, these dudes have a routine that they do every summer. They take their month off of, or their 3 weeks off of no basketball activities. Then they do a slight ramp up conditioning. They do skills work, weight training, all these things to prepare for the regular season. And if you push all of that stuff back 6 to 8 weeks, that means those 6 to 8 weeks get pushed into the regular season. Or if they skip steps, you can bet they're just going to have a bad season, period. As soon as you say, yeah, it's only 6 to 8 weeks for a fractured hand, yeah, it's his left hand. It's his shooting hand. It's only 3 months for a hamstring, Uncle Freezy, and it's the offseason. That means 3 months of doing nothing strenuous for OG Anunoby. But Mitchell Robinson's always hurt, Uncle Freezy. He hurt every summer. We just need to get what we can out of Mitch. Right. Right. What I'm saying is I know you guys are going to hear a lot of stuff this offseason. People are going to say something crazy. Like, I think the Knicks can win 60 games. The January Knicks. The January Knicks thing is a real thing, right? The January Knicks thing is a real thing. The January Knicks thing is a real thing. But everyone was healthy. Everyone was healthy for the January Knicks. And we'd be lucky to get another January Knicks thing this season. In my opinion, if we can get another January Knicks thing, I think we'd be fortunate. A 15-2 run, a 14-2 run to get us back on pace with the contenders. But what's more important to me is that we get to the playoffs healthy. If the Knicks go 50-32 and 1 through 13 is healthy, I'll take that over 60 wins with 2 guys out and Jalen Brunson trying to do it all by himself. These are the type of conversations that we should probably be having during the summer. What moves can the Knicks make in order for the team to be carried until all the troops get back and healthy. What moves can Leon Rose and his front office make to carry the team or to buoy the team until Randall is 100%, until OG Anunoby is 100%, until Mitchell Robinson is 100%, until Hartenstein is 100%, until Brunson is 100%, until Josh Hart is 100%. Right now, whether you know it or realize it or not, the Knicks are legit licking their injury wounds right now. Still, we haven't seen the Knicks play in 2.5 weeks, and guys are still hurt. OG Anunoby's not healthy right now. Mitchell Robinson's not healthy right now. Jalen Brunson is not healthy at this moment. Josh Hart is not healthy at this moment. And we haven't seen the Knicks play in 2.5 weeks. These guys are not. Isaiah Hartenstein is not healthy at this moment. And to say random stuff like, yeah, we'll be all right when the season starts, that just let me know everybody with a microphone don't necessarily need to be kicking it to y'all. I know Best Buy sells a ton of these things. Every time I go in Best Buy, somebody's in there like, I'm trying to start a podcast. Everybody with one of these things shouldn't necessarily be using it. A grown man yelling at other grown men, do what I say. You better agree with me. You better agree with me or I'm not letting you come back up here. I have the guests on the live stream like, yeah, whatever he said. People come on the live stream and they just be sitting there like, whatever he said. What I'm saying to Sherwin, that's why when you mentioned what you mentioned, it's not that I don't think that was a smart take by you. What I'm saying is that you have to take things into play. Like, just because there are things people are out of sight don't mean they should be out of mind. Right? Just because we hadn't seen them don't mean, they magically got healthy. Right? Nah. Think about when you get hurt and how long you're out. Right? Think about when you get injured, how long you're injured for, and how your normal activities are disrupted. Otherwise says, our heart ain't been healthy all year. We don't need more work. We need rest more than anything till August, in my opinion. Okay. And what I'm saying to reasonable minds is, when people are hurt, you have to give them enough time to recover from their injury, then get back in their routine, and then get sharp, is what I'm saying to you. Gaston. I think that the Knicks are a great team. And I think they'll still be playing this time next year. But I'm also fairly reasonable, and I understand that things happen in life that you can't avoid. Injuries. The NBA landscape thing and how it affects the Knicks. I think there is a false sense of contention in the league right now. I think the Philadelphia 76ers think they're championship contenders. I think the Indiana Pacers think they're championship contenders. I think the Milwaukee Bucks think they're championship contenders. I think the Miami Heat think they're championship contenders. And I think the New York Knicks think they're championship contenders. But there is only one solidified championship contender in the East right now, and it's the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics are the best team in the Eastern Conference right now. The Boston Celtics are the cream of the crop. They are. They're in the finals right now. You can't argue that. They just swept the team that beat us on our floor in a game 7 by blowout. A team legit blew us out on our own floor in a game 7, and that team got swept by Boston. How does that make you feel? The team that legit blew us out in a game 7 on our own floor just got swept by Boston. A lot of us feel like we could beat Boston in a 7-game series if we're healthy, right? A lot of us feel like we could beat Boston in a 7-game series if we're healthy, but the key is if we're healthy and if we make it to Boston. If. And what I'm saying to you is if you think Boston is going to enter this offseason and twiddle their thumbs whether they win a championship or not, you are mistaken. Boston, even when they win the NBA championship, they are not going to be complacent. They're not. Boston was in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and they traded their starting center and their starting point guard. And when they win the finals this year, thinking they'll be complacent by not bringing anybody back is a fallacy. So what do you do if you're the Knicks and you know Boston is ever improving? What do you do if you're the Knicks? Do you just try to come back healthy? Do you add to the roster? I'm going to tell you why running it back is a mistake. I think what we forget is when the San Antonio Spurs were a thing, when they were the king of the crop, there were two dueling franchises that absolutely hated one another. And one franchise actually had the other franchise's number, but they could rarely get to that franchise to beat them. These two franchises were the Memphis Grizzlies with Mike Conley, Tony Allen, Mark Gasol, and those boys. And the other franchise was the Golden State Warriors with Steph Curry and those guys. No matter how great Golden State looked against everyone else, when they played the grit and grind Memphis Grizzlies, Memphis had something for them. Right? But they took two different approaches. Golden State said, listen, we're great. We know we're great, and we have a great player, but we're going to continue to add great players around this one great player who doesn't have an ego. He doesn't mind playing with other great players. He doesn't even mind if they get credit more than him, as long as they win championships. That's the Golden State side. Right? Right now, that's what the Indiana Pacers are looking like they want to be. The Golden State Warriors. That's what they're looking like they want to be. Right? And then there is the other side, the Memphis Grizzlies, who felt like they had the personnel. They just needed to stay healthy. The other side was the Memphis Grizzlies. Every time they played Golden State in a key game, they had somebody injured. Every time they played Golden State, somebody was out due to injury, and Golden State would escape them. Golden State would win by Memphis would have a 3-point lead for 90% of the game. Steph hits a shot late, and Golden State wins by 8. The game get away from Memphis. And Memphis took the approach that we don't need to add talent. We'll just catch them when we're healthy. Y'all remember the Memphis team. Don't act like y'all don't remember that Mark Gasol, Zach Randolph, Tony Allen, Mike Conley. Y'all remember that team. Grit and grind. Lionel Hollins. Y'all remember Lionel Hollins used to play small forward for Portland. For the Portland Trailblazers. Y'all remember Lionel Hollins, grit and grind. Memphis took the approach that they would run it back because they had all the pieces and the style of play to win. They just couldn't stay healthy, right? But the thing they didn't take into account is that style of play keeps players injured. You're never going to have a complete roster in grit and grind. Never. You're never going to be healthy with that style of play. The physical style of play, the drag teams in the alleyway type of play, the fist fight style of play, teams can't stay healthy doing that. People are always hurt. I'll give another example. When the Detroit Pistons met the end of their run, so to speak, when they made the Eastern Conference Finals 6 straight years, right? For 6 straight seasons, the Detroit Pistons was in the Eastern Conference Finals. Well, they met the end of their run, and there were 2 teams that were poised to take the crown. One was the upstart Tom Thibodeau coached Chicago Bulls. Derrick Rose, Corey Brewer, Luol Deng, Joakim Noah, Taj Gibson, Keith Bogans, Kirk Heinrich, the Heinrich maneuver, those guys, right? Those guys, they were poised to take the crown from the Pistons. From the Orlando Magic, or was it the Orlando Magic? One of them, it was somebody. Poised to take the crown, right? Right, the Detroit Pistons, the Pistons, or whatever, whoever it was. And then there was the upstart Miami Heat. And they both took a stance. Chicago took the stance of, we don't need to add anyone. We have what it takes. We have the system in place. All we have to do is stay healthy and catch Miami, and we can beat Miami. And they were right. They had the scheme. They had the players. They had everything, right? They just needed to stay healthy. But Miami was like, hey, we need to keep adding talent. So not only do we have LeBron, Chris Bosh, and D Wade, we need to add Shane Battier. We need to add Ray Allen. We need to add Mike Miller. We need to keep adding talent because winning championships is more important than someone else's ego. Keep Turner's in the building. Miami felt like we need to keep adding talent and keep adding talent and keep adding talent and keep adding talent because this championship window is not guaranteed one way or the other. But Chicago took the stance that all we have to do is stay healthy. Chicago took the stance. We already have everything. All we have to do is stay healthy. If we stay healthy, we can beat Miami. And they were right. If they could stay healthy, they could beat Miami. Ivory 10 is in the building. Salute. But you know what Chicago couldn't do? Chicago could not stay healthy. And for that reason, Chicago didn't win any championships during that era. We've seen 2 instances with our own eyes where running it back didn't help a team win a championship because you felt the premise was if we stay healthy. And now we're looking at the Boston Celtics and the Indiana Pacers and the Philadelphia 76ers and the Milwaukee Bucks. And all those teams are on separate sides of this debate. If you're Milwaukee, you're like, hey, we got the talent. All we have to do is stay healthy. If you're the Knicks, you're thinking, hey, we have the talent. All we have to do is stay healthy. If you're the Sixers, we have the talent. All we have to do is stay healthy. If you're Indiana, you're like, hey, the more the merrier. If you're Boston, the more the merrier. The more talent you have, the more likely your team will stay healthy. The more people you have heavy lifting, the lighter the load is for one individual person. Strength in numbers. That's what they call it, strength in numbers. The more people carrying the weight, the less weight that one individual has to carry. And for those Knicks fans that think, well, we have Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson will get us there. For those folks, I'm telling you right now, the Knicks have already gone through that before. In the 90s, as long as you have Pat Ewing, you don't need another superstar on the roster because another guy coming in going to take the ball out of Pat Ewing's hands. Y'all remember that? Anybody in their 40s and 50s in here? Y'all remember that? We don't need another guy. Pat, we got Pat on offense and Pat on defense. Pat is going to lead the way. We're going to win some championships with Pat. Meanwhile, Michael Jordan had Scottie Pippen. Meanwhile, John Stockton had Karl Malone. Meanwhile, Gary Payton had Sean Kemp. Meanwhile, Kevin Johnson had Charles Barkley. But when we think one man, one player is going to lead you to a championship, you are bananas. BANANAS. For people that think Jokic could won that championship by himself in Denver, you're bananas. Jamal Murray is, look, man. If we think that Jalen Brunson is going to lead us to a championship, I don't even know what we're talking. What are we talking about? We've seen the one-man show fail on numerous occasions. None of y'all ever saw Allen Iverson play? A one-man show never wins. None of y'all have ever seen Dominique Wilkins? Alex English? Any of y'all have any of y'all ever seen Carmelo Anthony in his prime? A one-man show never wins. Never. I'm watching Anthony Edwards right now. Strength in numbers will win you a championship, even if you only win one. Would you be satisfied with one championship? I know some people want 2 or 3 championships, right? Wiz is in the building. Wiz says even LeBron needed help. Indeed. So if we take the mindset, take the mantra that we should run it back, are we going to be the Tom Thibodeau Chicago Bulls? Are we going to be the Lionel Hollins Memphis Grizzlies? Just get healthy. All we need is health, and we can beat anybody. And mind you, I'm not saying blow it up. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying blow it up. What I'm saying is health is unpredictable. You don't know who's going to be healthy and who's not. You just don't. Health is unpredictable. You don't know who's going to be healthy and who's not. That's why those Towel Boys Every time somebody hit the floor, that's why the towel boys be out there on the floor wiping up sweat, because health is unpredictable. One drip of sweat can derail a franchise's entire season. One dollop of sweat can have you in the lottery. Ask Memphis. Ask this year's Memphis Grizzlies how one bead of sweat can take out Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane. On separate plays, of course. On separate plays. Like, it wasn't Keystone Cops, like one drop of sweat and they slipped on and crashed into it. It wasn't that. No, it wasn't that. Let me see. I'm gonna put the joint out there for Cowboy Bob, and then while he work on that, man, I'm gonna talk about the NBA landscape and how it affects the Knicks. See, right now, the Knicks are in a position where they have a bunch of potentially core pieces. It depends on what happens with OG Anunoby. Of course, we assume that OG Anunoby is going to re-sign with the Knicks, especially since he put his career on the line in Game 7. That man put his career on the line in Game 7 for us. I always listen. No matter what happens with OG Anunoby for the rest of his career, I always love OG Anunoby.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, man. I always love OG Anunoby because he put his career on the line for us, man. Came through, played 5 terrible minutes, but scored 5 points. And he looked like the Walking Dead out there. That Indiana was running by OG Anunoby like he was standing still, and he probably was standing still. But the effort he gave in that Game 7, that'll always live in my heart. Always.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Good, man.
Good to hear that. I actually agree with you about how we need to be moving forward because, to be honest with you, everybody we have now is basically hurt and depleted. So our backup team is now the starters, and we need to solidify with younger talent to where we can use them for these 30 games to actually allow us to get our footing in. I really think that given what we got lucky with the 50 wins last year. And with the trades we also even got luckier with that because you could sit here and say, oh, we could have used Grimes instead of McBride or Sims when it came down to defense with certain players. But to be honest with you, everything basically got exposed. Everything maxed out and it fell into our favor. Now we need to actually make sure that we don't fall into a trap to where, let's say, the second year Randall where we didn't even make the playoffs or we get comfortable. So for me, I think we need to move up in the draft and start getting players to help us out and make some trades. Like I'm
Right.
not like I agree. We spoke about it. I think it was yesterday about Zach Edey for $2 million and then going out and getting somebody else. You can have two centers to basically lock in and not have to find a backup power forward and find youth and talent that could give you energy off the bench to where your starters aren't being used as hard as they are. Think about it. Randall can give you 25 minutes with like 20 points and like 10 rebounds. You ain't going to be mad at that. He's coming off of injury. Or Brunson can give you 30 minutes with 27 points. We
Right.
got to start building. We're at a point right now to where like the bridge it's like it's uneven. It's going to snap and we're going to have to rebuild the whole damn thing. Or we can actually weld this bad boy together and let it work. Connecting the young with the old and getting rid of Tibbs, I don't think works.
All right, let's stay on one thing at a time though. So one thing at the NBA with the NBA landscape, if the Knicks legit sit back on their laurels, say run it back for continuity's sake, for the sake of continuity, right? For the sake of continuity, they say run it back, right? And don't look to make any major additions. Say they bring back, say they pick up Jericho Sims' option. They bring back DeQuan Jeffries. They bring back Charlie Brown. They bring back Dwayne Washington Jr. They bring back Jacob Toppin, right? That is player 11 through 15, right? Are you satisfied that players 1 through 10 can last the season? And if they do, players 11 through 15 can pick up the slack in certain places throughout the
Now,
82 game schedule?
now with that roster, because to be honest with you, given what we did last year, that 11 through 15, I would rather get rid of all of that and create a spot to solidify our 8 and 9 spot and have 1 through 9. Because to be honest, we have 4 guys that got injured. If we could find 4 guys that can contribute to this team, then I'm okay with running a 9-man or a 10-man rotation. But the guys that you mentioned, not upgrading them, no, I don't have no faith. I don't even think we'll hit 45 wins. I think it's going to be bad. We're going to start off bad. It's going to be a lot of mixed match games to where Brunson will have a good game, but then the rest of the team won't be in it because of our upgrade. We have no new. It's like you do something amazing for the first year, and everyone's like, "Yo, that's the best freaking party you guys have ever thrown." How you gonna follow it up next year? You can't do the same thing. You see what I'm saying? You can't go
Right.
too brand new because now you lost interest. You got to find a way to keep the same ideal, but upgrade it a little bit to where you can bring in more people and get better production out of it.
I mean,
Right. Right.
Hey,
Right.
man, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, guys. I mean, bit of a rough weekend in Raleigh, but I did okay. Anyway, as far as these whole trade rumors of getting rid of Randall, no, I don't want that. I mean, I get it's clickbait and all that, but still, if we're gonna run it back, we need to upgrade the third string bench players.
I don't even want the third bench. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about getting rid of them completely to the point where
He didn't
we.
say that. He said upgrade the bench.
Oh, okay.
I mean, at this point, we'd be going into next year, we'd be running a 10, maybe 11-man rotation at most, right? With the pieces that we did throw onto the court this year on a regular basis. Brunson, Randall, Dante, Josh, Precious, OG, Hartstein, Mitch, Bojan, and to a lesser extent, Burks, though in his case it was mostly in the postseason.
So,
I
in the grand scheme of things, in the NBA landscape, other teams are going to be looking to improve as well. The same feeling that we have of coming up short, other franchises have that same feel. Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Cleveland, all those teams, they also feel like they're within earshot of the championship, and they're going to be looking to improve as well. So, as a team like us, if we just sit back on our laurels, stay complacent, and think that just coming back healthy will be our addition, in my mind, is not an effective strategy, especially when other teams in the conference are looking to rearm themselves, or not only rearm, but add other pieces to themselves to make themselves better. So do you stay complacent in that sense? In my mind, no. Now, does that mean turn over your roster? No, it does not. What it means in my mind is keep your core pieces and improve around the fringes, because if your mindset is this core can make noise in the playoffs next postseason, well, make sure that core that you have faith in actually makes it to the postseason healthy. And by doing that, you add players to lighten the load for everyone.
But the question is, what players do you add? Because the last two drafts or so, the Knicks have not bothered to add to the draft, and they caught those up on trades that have been hit or miss at best. and at worst have blown up in our faces. I do not want to go through that again. If we get a paint piece that's mediocre, sure, I would throw it into a trade package and maybe ship them out to Brooklyn to get Mikal Bridges. But that's as far as I go with it. You know what I mean, Bob?
Yeah, I was just gonna say the 4 guys I was gonna mention that we need to upgrade before for me to think that the moves are good are our center between Mitchell Robinson and Hartenstein. What are we gonna do there? What are we doing with Burks? Are we gonna have a guy like a Burks who could come off the bench and can shoot with the height and give us effort on defense? And what are we gonna do with not Burks, Bogues. Bogues and Burks. Those are the 4 guys right there. The 2 centers, Bogues and Burks. If we can upgrade those 4, then I could say we could run it back and we're better off because now we have our centers, 2 centers that are actually going to play. We have our rebounding, our defense will still be there with the rebounding and the scoring. That's the upgrade we need, and that'll be our 9 because you think about it, the 5 we have with Josh Hart, that right there alone will give you what you need.
But
Those are
then,
the upgrades I'm looking for.
but then how do you do the starting 5 when we get to that point? What's the configuration?
Because you could actually we don't even need a power forward. We could run small. We've played that. We've had McBride. We can get rid of Sims.
He said, "What's your starting 5?"
Oh, my starting 5 would be Brunson for me. If we were to run it back with the upgrades at the 4, it would be Brunson, Dante, OG, Randall, and I would upgrade the center position with. I still like Claxton because we could get him for 11 mil. But if we're keeping Hartenstein and Mitchell, then I'd start Mitchell. And then to go to the bench would be Josh Hart, and then the upgrades that we have in a backup center, probably like a Zach Collins. Get us another wing guard. Like I will try to go for Bridges, but he would be coming off as a 6-man. Or I'll even go after Malik Monk. I know most people are saying, "Oh, you're crazy," but I need someone to come off the bench and give me that spark of energy offensively.
If it was 2017, 2018, I would have said Monk. But the problem is he has attitude issues.
True. But like I said, I think that his chip on the shoulder, we got one of those too. We got a guy in Randall who also has a chip on the shoulder. That's why I'm saying like some of these guys that have that
But
attitude.
attitude issues and chip on the shoulder is separate though. We gotta, yeah, you can't really generalize in that sense. I mean,
Okay. Well, if he has a
but
chip
like,
on
have you seen Julius Randle do anything off the court that was a detriment to the Knicks?
no.
No,
Have you
he's been a model citizen, bro.
Have you
A
seen
model citizen.
Have you seen Malik Monk do that wherever he goes? Whether it's been in Charlotte where he started out, here in Charlotte where he started out, Sacramento, or where else did he go? Los Angeles.
And then the Kings.
He said Sacramento already.
Nah, my fault. Yeah. So no, you're right. I'm just saying like I think
Has
that
he done anything that's been detrimental off court, as far as I know? Yes.
okay. Because then I can see what you're saying. That's going to cause a problem, even with the guys we have here. Still a bad apple.
And you don't
Then
want
maybe not a
running
month.
the orchard.
Yeah, then go after Mikal Bridges. You do a 2-for-1 with that way. But we need to have that bench solidified with replacing those players, those 4 players. To me,
True.
Yeah, so the NBA landscape is full of I'm just gonna say the word fake just because I can't recall a more poignant word, but there are a bunch of fake contenders,
yeah.
right? Whether you're talking about Cleveland, Indiana, Philadelphia, Milwaukee. Some people put the Knicks in that category. The Knicks are fake contenders. The one true contender in the Eastern Conference right now is Boston. Because despite whatever they go through, they still wind up in the same spot, first or second in the Eastern Conference, right? So if you're the Knicks, do you want to be in that pseudo championship contender category, or do you want to separate yourself from the pack?
You want to be
And if you want to separate yourself from the pack, in my mind, you have to take the stance that the core has to be intact and healthy. and playing together on all cylinders before you can make the claim that the Knicks can beat any team in the NBA. Because historically everything is pointed in the opposite direction. The Knicks can't stay healthy, and their timing has not been right.
Mm-hmm. Or it's limited. I agree with that. But the thing is, we're not the only teams that I honestly think some teams just where we had our flaws being injuries. Most teams were just one player away. So if you really look at it, with their adjustments, they move ahead of us. Like if you look at the Magic, if the Magic actually had a point guard, I think they would have done better than we would have. So
The,
when
the
it comes
Magic
to
are
looking,
another pseudo contender.
yeah, like so we're in that category of pseudo contenders because it's been 4 years, and I think this is the highest we've actually progressed to in these last 4 years. So for us to even move to that next plateau, we need to make these upgrades to where we're locked in. And yeah, excuse me. I just really feel that the Knicks are gonna have to do a lot of work. We got a lot of work. We're literally like in the shallow end, thinking we're in the deep end.
Okay. Okay. The NBA landscape is definitely going to change this offseason. Teams will probably not sit still. A lot of teams will look to improve in the short term. And I think there are going to be a lot of teams that are going to take a step back in order to improve in the long term. And if you're the Knicks, I don't know if sitting idly by and licking your wounds is going to help propel you into that separate class of championship contender.
True. I mean, I think. I mean, what teams are looking to improve, whether they get the title or not? Out of the three remaining, I'd say Minnesota is going to need the most improvement, and Boston is going to need the least amount of improvement. You know what I
See,
mean?
now
Yeah,
go ahead,
Bob.
man. Oh no, I was just gonna say I don't think that that's like really. Let's literally think about it. What were we missing last year? Everyone can sit here and say, "Oh, Randall's download post presence. We didn't have that, or attacking of the rim." We need to back that up because if we are injured and Randall isn't there, we see how we're limited. So we need to find players in that, and the league is on notice. We are weak on the perimeter defenders, so they're going to go out and get better shooters. They're going to get more guys that are going to attack the paint. So we got to prepare for this. And if we just going to sit here and say adding one or two players that are superstars going to help us, it's not. Where we got exposed is off of the basics of basketball. Even Andre, I mean, me and IB, Kia, and Dre had conversations plenty of times. I've said it to him. I was like, I don't understand how we don't have a inbounder. He says, well, it's very difficult to find an inbounder. It's a part of basketball. It's something that simple as inbounding the ball we're having difficulty with. So for you to think that this team is good the way we're at, no. We can't even inbound the ball correctly, get down the hill collect consecutively without getting fouls. Like most of the things we got to work on is basic basketball. So that's where we're going to end up missing out because we're looking at the bigger notice instead of fixing up our errors. It's like sweeping dust under the rug.
Hmm.
So for me, it's like we're almost there, but we have to make the perfect moves before we start thinking that we're there. Because this season, had we made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, given all the injuries and everything, then I could say, yeah, we are a championship team because we made it there without our full core. But we can't say that. We still can't say that after these last 3 years of good production in the playoffs.
Or three of the last four of good production making it to the playoffs.
Yeah. And I mean, that's an improvement for us. But we've seen this before where we'll make the playoffs with Melo and then 4 or 5 years later, rebuild, rebuild, rebuild. But we're thinking we're moving in the right direction when that's going on.
Granted, what's been the catalyst of the majority of these last 2.5 decades of Knicks suffering? Bad front offices.
But
So
you
y'all
can't even
remember,
say.
so y'all remember the topic is NBA landscape and how it affects the Knicks.
Mhm.
How it
Yeah.
affects the Knicks is it's going to get harder next season. We got to adapt in terms of tactical ingenuity. Depending on what pieces the oppositions bring in and throw out.
I was just gonna say we need more talent, to be honest, because Tibbs did the best he could with the talent he had last year, and we got 50 wins. So if he has better talent to replace those 4 players, we're good. The league will change because our deficiency was free throws, getting to the rack. Again, they're gonna get the perimeter shooters. They're gonna play more fast pace and try to get us out of it because we're too physical. What we need to do is change our identity from being a physical team who are next man up to actually just do your job.
To being a physical team that's more about physical team that can adapt to being a more finesse squad.
No, because if you're physical, I don't think you could do both. For me, I just think you're either one or the other. But what you need is a balance. You don't need to have your first team being the finesse and then your secondary team being the defense. No, you just need a balance of good times. Like if you look at last night's game against the Mavs, they had 2 times where they had bad shooting and they had 2 stops where they had a 10-0 run in 3 minutes. That's what you need. You need that type of consistency to help out your superstars. And we were depleted with injuries, and they knew it, and they exploited us. So now we have to upgrade it to where, with or without injuries, the talent is still there and the ability is still there. Add an OG instead of RJ. I didn't think OG would have fit in as perfect as he did this season, but we can find players like that. Dante DiVincenzo stepping up. That's the second biggest guy I'm giving credit to outside of Josh Hart. We can find players that step up and be good, but the problem is it's the starting 5. And if the league gets involved and they notice what we're doing, they're going to steal all the guys that we need to replace. And we're even worse off than last year.
Okay. Hey man, thank y'all for coming through, rocking with us, man. I'm gonna get out of here. Got some stuff to do. The Big Boss Man Roundtable. I think I'm confident that'll be coming your way. Knicks freestyle, definitely at 7 something ish or whatever. The Knicks at Night podcast tonight at some point. I think I'm gonna also jump on and just do like a short little 8-minute homage to my guy. Thank y'all for coming through, man. I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you, everybody. Peace.